Smithsonians, welcome back. We're at the doctor's office again, Dr. White.
Dr. White. I like it. I like it. All right.
Yes, sir. Let's check in. If you're new to this podcast, go back to a few podcasts and learn who Mr. James A. White is. I call him Dr. White. But yes, feel free to go back, like, comment, subscribe. But today, just get check in. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing good after getting through all the snow, and I've had a couple of other things. My laptop was up there for about 3 or 4 days, and then my vehicle wasn't operating because the alarm system kept going off, so they had to keep that for I still don't have that one back.
So life is happening. Life is happening.
Waiting for the parts to come in, but the snow is stopped the parts from coming in. But fortunately, they gave me a rental car, so I'm rolling. I'm back in business again. But overall, just good. I mean, life is good. My family is good. The grandchildren and the great grandchildren primarily are doing good. So I'm just feeling good, man, and I'm waking up every day. Every day I'm waking up new ideas, new concepts, new things that are just kind of like popping in my head that I'm figuring out how do I share it. And so thanks to you, I'm able to at least begin to talk about some of these things and see whether they make as much sense to you and others as they make to me.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I am.
Awesome. Yeah, same thing. Thank God for life. And AI is the major deal. I can't take all the credit. It's like, hey, AI basically helped this editing process quick. And yes.
I'm glad you mentioned that. And I've run into people say, oh, AI, I'm afraid of it. It's going to do. AI is nothing but a tool.
Yep.
It's just like a hammer. It's like a power saw or a drill or anything else. But this is dedicated to you as an individual. And I strongly recommend people who have not used AI to begin to use AI because, first of all, it's here. Second of all, it's not going to go away. It's only going to be more and more of it. And people are using it personally, and organizations are using it. And I think it's important for us not to run away from a technology that's going to have a major influence on our lives.
Exactly.
If you're in the office or if you're in a plant, no matter where you are, AI is going to have an impact. And that's a part of, I think, what we need to be talking about. How do we take tools and utilize them in our best interests as opposed to turning and running away from them? People are always afraid. I can remember when people said, a cell phone? Why do I need a cell phone? Yeah. And they were running, I'll never get a cell phone. Now people what? If you don't have a cell phone, you're lost. I mean, so it's here. It's a part of where we are. So people, please, if you haven't introduced yourself to AI, get a friend, a neighbor, get one of your grandkids or someone in the family to introduce you to it so you can start to utilize it in your best interest as opposed to it utilizing you. I think that's the important part there.
Yep. Just feel free to, look through the channel. A video I did, Awake 18. He created AI apps for mental therapy and a few other things. Just watch that interview. It's like, it's people of color that are here for you. I'm bringing them onto the show. So make sure you guys go back and, do your research. It's on the podcast. And just be comfortable. Like, just embrace it. Don't have no experience. Just have somebody guide you. The library has some free courses.
Yes, there's courses everywhere now. I think one of the things that you and I have been talking about, one idea or concept that I came up with, I was looking at during, Dr. Martin Luther King's contribution to the world.
Okay.
One of the things that I heard him talk about frequently, and that was the moral universal arc that is broad and it's long. And it says that it leads towards justice. And I was looking at that and I was wondering about that and I was reading up on it and I said, the arc is long and it's broad and it leads towards justice. Well, since his assassination, I'm saying where's the justice? Have we been able to tune into more justice? And as I did my work and my research on it, here's what I found. The moral universal arc that's broad and long. It bends towards justice. But here's a critical piece. If there are people who are sitting back and saying, well, I'm waiting for the arc to bring me justice. I've been sitting here, I'm wondering what's going on. The arc is not going to do anything until you step up because it talks about bends towards justice. Here's what I believe I have to do. I don't know about other people. What I need to do, I need to reach up and grab that arc and bend it down and move it towards justice. And the way that I get it to move towards justice is I have to be involved.
Yes.
I have to participate. I can't sit back and wait. I don't think Dr. Martin Luther King said, well, just get on the bus and relax.
Thank you.
Just get on the bus and have a seat and wait for the justice. It ain't happening.
Exactly.
It is not happening. So the work that I was looking at says that what I need to do, James A. White Sr., I need to participate in doing those kinds of things that needs to be done to bend the arc for my grandchildren and for my great-grandchildren. I can't sit back and wait and say, well, it's going to hit. No, I have to get out and push that arc, and I have to work that arc. So what I did, I looked at the term bend towards justice. And what I did was to kind of go and start looking in the books. And what I found was this. I took bend, and I had this attitude. The B.E.N.D. B means belief. I have to believe that there are initiatives, there are things, there are approaches, there are strategies that I can implement myself, that I can share with other people and believe, because if you believe it, you can conceive it, you can make it a reality. So that's the first thing. Then I took the E, B-E, E means engage. I need to engage what's out there. I need to engage those things that are preventing the arc from bending, or I need to engage those things that are helping the arc to bend. So I'm there, I'm participating, I'm involved, I'm working it. Then the N turned that into navigation.
Okay.
So now if I'm going to bend something, if I'm going to do something, if I'm going to participate, I need to be involved and I need to negotiate. I need to figure out, how do we move here? How do I navigate it to go in this place? Is this the best place for it? Is that the best place for it? Is this the best person for me to talk about? How can I bring my skills, my knowledge, whatever I have to the space to help to engage and help to be able to navigate this to move in a way that's going to be helpful for my great grandbabies who are now in elementary school, man. I got to go to the school. I have to see what the schools are doing. I have to talk to the kids. My great granddaughter was in a project dealing with the solar system. So she said, Papa, I got to do this project. I said, well, what's the project? And she told me, I said, okay, let's go. So we went out to the different stores. I went to the teacher store first, And then I went and looked at that one, and then I got some information there. And then I went over to the hobby store, where we got some little styrofoam balls that represented the different. Then we got some sticks to stick the styrofoam balls on. So then we got to get some paint, the buy. And so then we talked about it. And she's taking this back and she's using it in school. But what I'm trying to get her to do is to realize that, hey, you got to work this stuff. And the more she does that, the better it positions her, either now or in the future, to be able to help bend that arc. And then last but not least, discipline. The D. So B-E-N-D. D is for discipline. Do I have the discipline to not only talk about that, but do I have the discipline to follow up with her? Do I have the discipline to go to the school periodically and say, hey, what's happening with the kids? How are things going? Or do I have the discipline, if that's not my case, go downtown, go to city council, go to whatever it may be, or myself to educate myself more so I understand what's happening and understand what's going on. So the B.E.N. is the B-E-N-D, B for belief, E for encouragement, N for navigation, and then D for discipline. So that's where I am, man. I believe that as people, black folk first, people of color, white people, allies, whoever it might be, if we want a better world, period, because the art, when it talks about bending, it's not just bending for us as people of color. White folks are having serious problems and having challenges that if they want that art to bend towards them to gain justice, and justice doesn't mean just us, justice means everyone. We don't live in a world right now where everything is happening really well, land of milk and honey and everything. No, everyone that I come in contact with sees and understands that there's some challenges that they are experiencing themselves. If they aren't experiencing them, their grandparents are experiencing the problems. Their next door neighbors are experiencing those problems. And it is about justice. We need a society that doesn't just look at how do I take people that have $300 billion? Come on, man. If I have $300 billion, I don't need any help. I don't need another dollar. I don't need 60 cents. So that money really has come from whom? It's come from the everyday people that are going out every day shopping and every day buying, and they're getting more and more and more money, but still they won't bring people and hire people. I think that organizations that have these kinds of dollars could start everybody out at $25 an hour, and it would never hiccup. When you have $1 billion, it wouldn't be a hiccup. And everyone would be able to function. They'll be able to get housing. They'll be able to get medical care. They would be able to get education. They would be able to build skills. But that, to me, is where we need to be. That's where I am. That's what I'm thinking about every day. So and I'm talking about, again, I'll say it again, the moral universal arc is broad and it's long, but it bends towards justice. And that means justice for everyone. That means balance for everyone. That means equity for everyone. That allows people to, and we're not asking for big things. We're just saying, can I get a house? Can I get an apartment? Can I get some transportation? And if my transportation breaks down, do I have enough money just to pay for it, just to make it function better? Those are the kind of things, and that's what I'm excited about. Those are the things every day. I wake up every single morning with another idea, another concept. I do, man. It's just, I just think that's what we have to do. And just like I'm waking up,
Yep.
other people are waking up.
Yes.
And they have ideas. But people don't want to put their ideas, I can't make a bird go out. Yes, you can. Take a step. Say something. If nothing else, put it out there. Share it with your next door neighbor. Share it with your city council person, whoever that might be, a state representative. And if we don't do anything, guess what? Nothing will happen. And those with money are going to make more. And why are they making more money? Because guess what they're doing? They're engaged.
Yeah.
They are working at it. They're pulling. So if they can pull at it at that level where they don't need it, then darn it, we need to be able to do the same and bend the arc so that everyone can start to benefit from this, and that we will have, an environments where people can feel comfortable and go home and take a breath for a minute without having to worry about, do I have enough money for the rent? I can't worry about, now that it's hot, can I turn my thermostat up so I can be warm in the house, or do I have to keep it cool? Or I'm worrying about, I'm letting a little water drip. What's that going to do to my water bill, right? So I'm looking at that to keep the water from freezing, but at the same time, I don't want to leave it on too long, because what's going to happen, I'm going to have to pay that bill. That's where I am, man. That's the thoughts. That's what I have been doing, and it's bugging the heck out of me.
That's exactly. I'm glad. Basically, I'm glad that you brought that up, because people are bending. Finally, the city council said something about the AEP prices. Like, they want to pause that. Like, thank you for finally doing something. Finally bending the system. So it's like, and for other people that are speaking out about Haiti, like, I don't know, but like, it's my first time ever seeing mass protests for Haiti. It's like that's
yes.
new. So it's like,
yes,
people are bending. So like, again, the bends, like belief, like people are changing the belief. Like they're seeing the issue. Like, we all going through it. Like. So I see it in a practical way. So I'm like, there's more to be done. It's not over. It's like, it's justice. Like, where's the justice? Like, yeah, there's a lot of work, like justice.
Yeah, I just think that it's absolutely terrible that people who have come here to the United States of America to better their lives, now all of a sudden someone is telling them that they have to go back home. We don't know our history. If we took a moment and stopped and look at our history, everyone here in the United States of America today made a water trip. Europeans came here in the late 1800s, and they were coming here from different parts of Europe. They weren't coming here to the United States of America because home was just nice and everybody loved everybody. They were being chased out of their homes in Europe. Their families, their ancestors were not able to get jobs, or they were at the low end of the totem pole. and they called them all kinds of names because they were in jails and they were in mental institutions and they didn't have work. So they were running away from systems that was not really helpful and supportive to them. Same kind of thing that we're going here today. So how dare someone come here and say, let's get rid of the Haitians and let's get rid of people from other countries, the brown folks. White folks went through the same thing. The Irish, the Italians, the Jewish, the Slovenians, they were being killed and beaten and run out of the country. When they came to United States of America and they wanted to be citizens, in 1790, the Supreme Court said the only way that you could be a citizen of the United States of America, you had to be white, of moral character, and you had to be a WAS, white, Anglo-Saxon Protestant. Anyone else, Irish, Italian, Jewish, need not apply. That's what they told them. That's why they filled up the ghettos in New York City and in New Jersey and then through other parts of the country. So everyone was running. What if at that point in time they would say, go home, Europeans, go back? They didn't say that to them. They stayed, they fought, and they did have to fight. Guess what they did with the moral ark? They grabbed that ark, bad boy, and they pulled that ark down, and as a result of it, many of them are now in better positions. So they got justice then. People understood what justice meant back then. Justice then is the same as justice today. So who are we or who is anyone to say you should go home if you're... America was made up of immigrants. The automotive, Ford went out and brought immigrants here because he couldn't find people here in the United States of America to be able to run his plants and his factories and what have you. The West was settled by what? Immigrants. And talk about welfare, guess what they gave them? Free land. Line up, rush out, get some land, put a stake in the ground, and it was yours free. It was welfare. They got welfare. And now some of them say, oh, my father and my grandfather, they own land, blah. You got a lot of the land free. So people need to, all people, everyone in the United States of America needs to stop for a moment, go back and look at our history, our stories. Not his stories, everybody's stories, and find out where we are, why things are operating the way they are today. And before you tell someone else to go back home, look at your own ancestors and see what happened to them and see how they got here and see why you might be or may have benefited from the welfare of that time, or the benefits of that time, or the support of those particular times. And then you can start to say, okay, all right, I understand. Let's everybody come here. Because right now, America is where it is because of the contributions of immigrants of every ethnicity, of every complexion, black, white, from every parts of the country. And so what we need to do is say, how do we work together and how do we make this a place where everyone can come in and get a job and take... People aren't coming in and saying, hey, take care of me. People are saying, give me employment and I will do what I do best. And those are the things, man, that we need. So not knowing, not educating ourselves, allow us to believe that, oh, something's wrong with us. That's what are making us go. No, nothing's wrong with you or anyone right now. America needs people who are going to come and do what immigrants have been doing since the inception, because the only ones who came who you may not call an immigrant were the kidnapped Africans, and we were brought here by force. We were brought here. We didn't ask. We didn't put out hitchhiking across the Northern Ocean. We were brought here in the bowels of ships, and we were placed into slavery. And I'm not going back and talking about slavery, but if you will talk about your situation, then understand what my situation was. And understand today that there isn't a population here in the United States of America, with the exceptions of the native Americans who could tell someone else go back home. And if we look far enough, that probably Native Americans, made a trip where someone could tell them to go back home. So that's where I am, man. And we need to wake the hell up. Wake the hell up. But you can't do it if you don't educate yourself.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm thinking, one, Tuska, Oklahoma, when they bombed the city.
Yes.
If there was one magic thing, like, if you really don't want the immigrants, like, give us our own land and don't bomb us. Give us Haiti, like, get your hands off of Haiti. Like,
right.
So there's so many ways I'm thinking about, but we want to include people, bend the justice, like, we're here, we have the foundation. So if, like the magic thing, like if there was no issue, like if we want to work together, how about you just give us, anyway, I'll just put it like that. Like, what if you just give us a plot of land?
Well, I don't think giving a plot, I mean, that would be great if they could find some land that needs to be, but give us a job.
We create the job. That's why I said it. Because we'll create everything. We always done it.
Yes.
So the Black City, we done it plenty of times.
Over
but
and
you keep
over
bombing it. Like, why?
Every time we, as African Americans and other populations, were able to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps.
Yeah, Brownsville.
Every time we did it, what they did, they wiped us out.
Yep, Brownsville neighborhood.
Yeah.
The neighborhood that we live in. Yep.
Yeah. And let me share with you, and I don't know if people really understand. I can give you my understanding of that. And I can give you something that I think created that. What we had initially, we had slaves that were kidnapped and they brought here. At the same time, we had the white overseers. Now, the white overseers, it wasn't like they came from a good environment. They were the lowest of the low in Europe. They were the ones who were called the trash people. So they weren't any better off, probably less better off than Africans who were kidnapped. Well, the Africans were made slaves. The poor whites were overseers because the wealthy white landowner did not want to have to deal with the slaves. So one day, the overseer woke up and looked out the door and said, well, my house is next door to the slave's house. I don't seem to be that much further ahead than them. And I'm eating from Big Mama's kitchen because Big Mama cooked for everybody. When my babies need daycare, Big Mama watched my white babies, while we were doing our things. When we got sick, we went to Big Mama. She took care of us because the Africans brought with them all kind of information about health care and medical care. So the overseer said, well, I'm not much better off than the slave. So they went and protested to the slave owner. The slave owner says this: as long as you are one step above the slaves, knowing what your background is, because you could have been, if your color was different, you too would have been the slave. But as long as you're one step above them, don't come to me and complain about a damn thing. Now think about that. Yeah. So in their mind, they're saying, the way I define myself by making sure that I'm one step above the slave or one step above the black folks, right? So what happens from that point on? Every time we as black people moved up to a point of equity, moved up to a point of parity,
wow,
that made the white person say, ooh, I gotta move one step above them or I'm gonna be just like them. So what did they do? They would tear down whatever it is that we have accomplished. And that has been happening in America since that started. They burned down homes, they burned down cities, they burned down families, and then they burned down in Tulsa, Black Wall Street, because they were what? They were doing well without them. They had their own theater, they had their own music, they had their own restaurants. They were not, doing the same thing, and nor did they need them. So someone made something up to do what?
Wow.
To tear them down. And that has been happening over and over. So what I find is that there are some Europeans who weren't comfortable with being able to identify where they are based upon their own merit. They identified themselves and based upon me being one step above people of color. So since we can't compete with them, let's burn it down.
That's crazy. Like Springfield, like that makes so much sense. Springfield, like they say Haitians are doing this. Like we bring them economically, but bring them down. Like, wow.
That's right. Let's tear them down. Because why would you want to get in the way? In Springfield, they weren't hurting anyone. People were they did the same identical thing that the Europeans did the same identical thing. And then the Irish were against the Italians, and the Italians were against the Jewish, and the Jews were against the Slovenians. When you got more than me, come on, man. If we educated ourselves to understand what really happened in America, how America was settled, who were those people who were settled, what were those opportunities and those advantages that were given to people who came here, and there would be no reason for them to do the kind of things that they're doing. If we worked together and shared together and supported each other together, everyone would rise. Everyone would do better. The people, and not only that, if you're looking at a person who is just as poor as you are and you want to take their biscuits, well, heck, why bother them? Why don't you get it with the person who has the bakery? If you want to do something, they're looking at the wrong people. The people who really could make a difference aren't the ones who live in our neighborhood. Those are the ones who live in a different neighborhood, different incomes, and we need to protest them to say, give a living wage to everyone, because the reason why you have so much more money than us is because we have been spending our money and you haven't been sharing it equitably. So therefore you see this disparate kind of conditions and disparate kind of treatment that's going on. So, but there's so many ways we could address this. So many ways. So, I think what I'm finding, the more information I get and the older that I become, the more I understand the challenges and the problems. And the more I want to say, people, can we just sit down and talk to each other? Can we just sit down and educate each other, ourselves?
That's crazy.
And create a whole different kind of mindset that's out there. So those are just some of the things.
I approve. I can't add a note to it. Like that's exactly what I've been saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's what we need to be. And I think even people don't even understand Haiti. They don't understand why Haitians are in the position that they're in. Those Haitians ought to do better. They don't understand what happened to Haiti. They don't understand that when Haiti got their freedom, the first thing the United States, Britain, and France said, yeah, you may not be on the slave plantation, but you won't pay us money because you are now free, and we cannot make money off your back. So you owe us money. You owe the plantation owner money because you're not a slave anymore. And that's what they have been doing for the last how many years? They probably just paid the bill not too long ago.
Yeah. It's like,
so, I mean, it's that kind of stuff, man. So, that's what keeps me awake. And I'm trying to look at equity. I'm trying to look at justice. I even sent out information to our mayors and our governors and city council members. And I'm saying, could we put a civility initiative in place? And by that, I'm saying, I don't want you to spend money. Just say, these are the top 10 things that civility represents. Please, thank you. Caring about your next door neighbor. Don't hate someone just because they have a heart that's bigger than yours, or they voted red or blue or green or whatever color. So here's my take. We're all, if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
yeah.
whether you read, whether you voted blue, whether you voted whatever, we're all doing the same thing.
Every day.
We're looking for food, clothing, and shelter. And if you have moved beyond Maslow's hierarchy of needs, then what you need to do is give some of that money back, because you didn't make it by yourself. You made it off the backs of those people who were still working that whole cycle around Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Food, clothing, shelter, a sense of caring, a sense of belonging, and then self-actualization. So, how do we have discussions about it? How do we do this? What I would love for people to be able to call in and say, well, what about this and what about that? And really have a dialogue. Don't holler back and forth at each other. If you don't know, then call and get some information and get some data. There is absolutely no reason for people to discriminate against others because of the fact that you look a little bit different than me. then if you feel threatened by them because they have a job, well, you get yourself another damn job. Work an extra job. But don't knock them because they're trying to pull themselves up. That's where I am, bro. That's where I am. How do we have that dialogue? How do we have that conversation? And for us, as people of color, if we have been able to survive 250 years of slavery, we can survive anything. Do we know or understand what we did for 200? We did everything. We built things, we grew things. They got us here because we had skills and technology that was needed to create America. We created America. And then for another 100 years, they still wanted to hold us down. Now, you've been trying to hold someone down for 350 years. Hello. Don't you get it? Maybe you need to get your foot off their neck, and maybe you need to pull them into dialogue and conversation, because if we do that, everyone rises. Everyone does better. But you focusing your attention on holding me down, as opposed to placing your attention on helping me to kind of work arm in arm with you to move ourselves forward.
Now that you said it, I think their fear is retaliation.
We don't do that.
Because somebody commented on our past videos.
Yeah.
I do reels off of them.
Uh-huh.
And they commented, like, I forgot how it went, but it's basically that he mentioned, like, if we take the lead, they're going to be beneath us. That's their mindset.
That is never happening. We haven't done that in the past, and we're not going to do that now. That is not our focus. Our focus is not revenge. Our focus is not to get back. Our focus is to move ourselves to a place where we can sustain ourselves and our family and our children. And you do the same thing. We've done more to reach back and help people than we've done to retaliate. I mean, if that's a fear, people need to think about why that fear is. No, look at European history. If you go back and go back to 1300. Europeans been kicking each other's butts since the 13th wave, and probably before that. One European had a piece of land. He found that Joe European had some land down. I'm gonna go take their land. I'm gonna take their wife, and then I'm gonna occupy them, and then they occupy. Man, there's no population on the face of this earth that has been more violent and more vindictive than the European culture. Don't believe me. Look at your history. And I'm not saying this in a negative way, but I'm saying this for you to understand what has really happened in this world, in this society. Who have been the people who have been violent? Who have been the people who wanted to take advantage of others? And they looked the same. They had same complexions. So it wasn't about the color of their skin. It's just that you lived on the bend of the river and I lived on the strait of the river. Well, that's a reason for me to come and take your land and take your family. I mean, man, just open up a book, please, please. And understand what has happened in this world and why we, as people, as human beings, need to be able to sit down at the table and say, how do we move everything forward? Because if I help you move forward and you help me move forward, we're going to help somebody else move. But how can we get that dialogue? That's why I wanted civility. Because if we have civility, then we'll at least sit down and talk to each other. And I went online and I asked AI. I said, AI, what is the essence? What is the essence of civility? What's the smallest factor, whatever that language would be? If you have civility, where does it start? And what AI said to me, it said, James, the essence of civility is when I can sit across from you and see my humanity in you. I see that you're a human being just like I'm a human being. That's where civility starts. And because we're both human beings, then I can say, hey, how are you? You can say the same to me. I can give you a piece of bread. You can give me a couple apples. I can give you some juice. You can give me some water. We can both go out and get the stuff we need for survival. And better than even killing the animals, let's drop some seeds in the ground that come up over and over. I have a garden in my back of my house, a little small inner city garden. I am absolutely amazed when I drop these teeny weeny little seeds in the ground. They just produce tomatoes after tomatoes after tomatoes. the cucumbers, squash, and I don't have to do anything. Nothing. So all I'm saying, just help each other. We can all I don't know, man. That's I'm trying.
It boils down to nature, like
Yes.
basic simple stuff. Like
Yes. And nature does not discriminate.
yeah,
If you put a seed in the ground, a white person put a seed in the ground, an Asian person put a seed in the ground, a Hispanic, all y'all gonna get some stuff. And everybody knows it because if you look at every single culture does planting and fruits and vegetables. I mean, everyone. They may cut it up differently or cook it a little different. Same thing. Yeah. It bugs me.
I don't have nothing to add. Like you just gave clarity to what I was thinking. I always thought like in depth, so it's like I'm not sure.
About what? Say again?
You just gave me clarity in depth of what was missing. Like
okay.
Like Haiti's like they keep bringing it down. It's like why every time you go up they break us down.
Oh yeah, every time because they do not want the Haitians to get to a point where they can really get up and have a thriving community because Haiti was the first population nation to gain its freedom. To say, white folks, get the hell off of me. I want my freedom and get out of here. Go somewhere else. Go back to Europe and continue to do some things to other Europeans. To us.
Like DR is right next door.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and look at that. Dominican Republic and Haiti. What's the difference? Access to resources, man. Support that's come from different places, different people. Jobs, allowing you to have an airport there, allowing you to process whatever you need to process, or build some kind of a. What if they put a big? They want to build factories. Build a factory in Haiti.
They have some.
Give Haitians an opportunity to work in these places.
Right.
If you can send them all the way over to Europe, man, why can't you send it down to Haiti? Automotive plants and everything. It makes no sense. People don't want it to work. That's why if to me every system is designed to get exactly what it's getting. If we're not getting any real production out of Haiti, there's only one reason. They haven't provided the opportunity for that to take place. Period. And why haven't? Because they don't want it to work. They don't want it to work.
That's crazy.
And you get politicians involved, and you get the dollars involved, and so I don't know, man. But I know one thing, that for me, I'm committing and dedicating the rest of my life to explore and find ways to bring equity to, first of all, to my own folks. I'm not leaving anybody else out. If you want to come and hang in with me, that's cool, But that's where you have to. Charity begins at home and spreads abroad. So there, and then for whoever else who needs it, whoever. I would love to see us put a plan in place that says if you are at a certain socioeconomic level, everyone at that level, that's where the work should go. That's where the passion should go. That's where the opportunity should go. And it shouldn't be based upon you're one color and another color and all those kind of things. It should be that you're at that particular level where you need a good job and you need resources and you blah, 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 and you need a house like everyone else is doing.
So let's talk about that. Let's go in that avenue.
Okay.
Education. How do we change? Basically, I'm trying to say, how do we add civility in education? Because, like, if we know their baseline, start education. Like, if you know that's where their path is, like, their attention span is not there, like, we could start.
Well, kids, here's my take on education. I just think that every child is just a pure gift. And every child wants to learn. Some may have more challenges than others. So the socioeconomic system needs to be such that children have access to education. Now, the only reason why you see some children doing better than others is because look at education, middle class or wealthy community versus that in the socioeconomically depressed community. You see differences not because the kids can't learn, because in the lower socioeconomic community, it's hard for the parents to get their kids to school, then how do they have to get daycare, then how do I pick them up, how do I buy the books that they need, how do I get the resources, how do I show them here's what I know for a fact. When you subject people of whatever color, whatever background, to similar conditions, they perform damn near the same. And they've seen this over and over and over and over again. People who are in healthy communities, people who have access to resources, people who have time to sit down with their children and give them support and give them tutorial things that they need, or get them in soccer and baseball and karate and all those other things that kids have access to, they tend to do the same identical thing, man. Over and over and over and over again. And you can see that. Now, when there's disparate treatment and kids can't get the resources, can't get to school on time, no one to pick them up on time, then you start to see them behave differently. But not because they don't have the capability. It's because of the resources and access that they have to those resources and support that they get when they need the support.
That's crazy. Because I was watching a movie. I barely watch movies, but I want to say it's called Trading Places or something like that with Eddie Murphy.
Yes.
And that white guy they chased.
Yes, Trade Places.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
it's documented. It's like it's known, but like,
there. Oh, yeah.
how we do knock down the system like that? Wow, that's crazy.
I mean, I stop and think about disadvantaged families and their children.
But sorry,
Go ahead.
Just even that, like disadvantaged Haiti, the kids are coming here, like, and the amount of things they're doing, like they're producing, is like
Absolutely.
just a change of place.
Right. Change of the environment. It's the environment.
That's crazy.
You
And
know
it's like,
that the environment has a tremendous impact on this man, on everybody. Because if it was just about ethnicity, all whites or all blacks or all Asians or all Hispanics would do, the same identical things. But because of the fact that people are exposed to different kinds of resources and different socialization, that's where you see the disparate treatment, behavior, all those things start to surface. I kind of got that kind of mixed up again. But what I'm basically saying is this. When you expose people, children, to similar kinds of behavior and support, they tend to behave the same way. And
that's crazy.
That. Yeah.
If they're man, I don't know. You just gonna keep giving examples, but like the education system, like the immigrants, like coming here and excelling the traditional people,
Right.
like wow.
And immigrants coming here, one of the things they have language challenges.
Yeah.
Then they have levels of support. Then are they living in the right kind of community? Also, what kind of pictures are they seeing? Are there things that when they see pictures of themselves, it's positive, it's supportive as opposed to negative? When you hear the news, at night, when you mention black, you see something else. When you hear white, you see something else. When he's Hispanic, you see, it's socialization. Come on. And not only that, they know it. America knows what creates poverty. America knows what creates violence. We've had enough research done by the colleges and the universities. They know exactly where the issues are. They know exactly how to solve and how to resolve. They know exactly how they do it. If they would put the amount of money into developing babies and young people that we put into moving a battleship across the darn sea or fight a battle or shoot a couple missiles, man, we would have a thriving community. And there would be less of a need for us to go around and take advantage of other people and other. They talk about the drugs. There's one reason why we have why people are fighting like hell to get drugs here. They don't have a job at home. And guess what? Americans are sucking up a whole lot of drugs. If they want to stop drugs from coming to America, put that money into America so that the people who are on drugs can get some kind of support and they wouldn't have a need for it, then people couldn't sell it here. There would be no need. We wouldn't buy it.
Yeah, we was gonna close it here and then we could do part 2, but like it's like, yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, man, I'm working on this particular model. And I'll kind of reiterate what I was saying before. And I got it from just listening to Dr. King. And he said, the moral universal arc is broad and it's long. And it bends towards justice. But as I looked at that, and I kept saying, well, when's the bend going to take place? When do we get our justice? And as I dug further, we found that the bend only takes place when people get involved and when people participate in bending the arc. We have to reach up and grab the arc and pull it down so that it will then lead to justice. And then so I took the word bend, which is belief, engagement, navigation, and discipline, and said, okay, that's the piece for us. We need to do that. We need to believe that we can create a change. We need to get engaged and involved in being able to make that change. We need to navigate ourselves and others towards how to make that happen. Then we have to have the discipline to stay on it. And the arc Dr. King wasn't just talking about people of color. Because remember, Dr. King at that point in time was all involved in the Vietnam War. He was all involved in poverty. And one of the things why I think he was assassinated was because he started talking about Vietnam and he started talking about poverty. And when he started pushing on that, I said, oh, brother, you stepping out of your league.
So that's the system. That's the American system.
Yes.
That's what it runs off of.
Yes. And that's the thing that brought him down. So we want to see justice, and keep in mind, people, justice is not just for people of color. Everybody wants justice. Look around you. Look at lower socioeconomic white folk. They need just as much justice as affluent white folk need, or Asian people need, or Hispanic people need. So it's all of us. It's across the board. If we want to see that justice, we got to get involved. We can't wait for somebody else to do it for us. Bam. Drop the mic.
You see why I call him Dr. White?
Drop the mic, yeah.
Wow.
But I wish, again, man, if nothing else, if we had some questions, if we had some people who may see this, or some people who when you're out on the street, just say, I'm just taking some notes. What are some issues you are involved in, or questions that you have? And then when we do this, and we can throw these questions and answer the question. I'm a training consultant. I'm not a keynoter. Okay. You know, I like to sit in the classroom and kind of like kick it with people back and forth. And what I like to do is hear those kinds of questions and then be able to respond to those. So if we can get some things like that, it would be great.
All right.
Okay.
Let's do that. We'll do pop-up shops and then do a section. We'll do a cut here and then ask the question directly and post it.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Let's go for it.
All right. Thanks for viewing.
I appreciate it.
Dr. White, thank you for your time.
My pleasure.